who should be successful, but what? They're not successful. Why?
So that's his why buy. But what is he afraid of?
My personal style of education, but still entertain them, bring them along with stories, right? Who do we want to learn from? People who are what? Killing it.
If you're a real man, what do? I'm not the only one.
You can't wait to tell your spouse. You can't wait to tell your colleague. You can't wait to go to work and tell somebody. And you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. So what happened?
If you haven't seen my TV show, you should get cable. That's what you need to do.
From doing a TV show to doing corporate events, I've been so lucky to connect with many passionate entrepreneurs worldwide.
What I've learned from a business perspective.
Because this is the formula for success, no matter who you talk to. Attitude will drive your behavior. Would you agree? And your behavior will drive your consequences every single time.
We got the concept. Okay, we got the concept. We got the equipment, right? We got the brand. You guys got that. And then again, we got the content that we create. That's the easy part. This is the big one, the big C, which is the commitment.
What should you do? That's right. All right. 10Xers, do not fail me. True test. Here it comes.
There's skill, and then there's will. Listen to what I'm saying. There is skill, and then there is will. And here's the interesting thing. I know a lot of people who have a lot of skill, but have no what? Will, right? You ever look at somebody who's successful, and you say, why them, why not you? Yes, okay, that's me too.
You have more control, but your costs are also going to be what? Higher.
Now, here's where some of the magic is starting to kick in.
You can talk to any CEO in the B2B business, any CEO. You walk into his office and they only care about three things. People too. Yeah, you with the suit, put it up. There you go. I hope you can see this. I'll try to draw big. Let's pretend for a moment that I had 7 territories. You remember I wrote that out? Yes or no? Boom. Territory 2, territory 3, all the way to territory number what? 7. So now I've segmented my market.
So content is going to start being created by machines. And I'm telling you right now that those people, you guys, the content creators that connect with people are the ones that are going to win. Some people think, well, it won't work for my industry. Really? It'll work for any industry. Trust me. The majority of the time when we're looking to fix something, repair something, or learn something, where do we go? YouTube. We don't even want to read anymore. We go to YouTube. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong.
When you're doing your thing, beautiful things begin to happen. It's like the law of attraction kicks in. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're in line with the universe. Everything works. And when you do your thing, everybody gets an automatic MBA, which stands for what? Mega Bank Account Money. Are you with me? So we don't want to do a thing. We want to do a what? Beautiful.
All right, put it all together for Victor Antonio. Here we go.
All right, there we go. I'm not here to mess around. You ready to learn, yes or no?
That's how it works in today's market. Whether it's B2B or B2C, you see the similar patterns. So how do you just, in other words, say you gotta start doing these things, pushing them, but also encouraging them. Oh, look at this. This is where it gets, dude, this is like so interactive with audiences, Matt. Can you imagine this with your customers? Check this out. Now, what does all this have to do with selling? It has everything to do with selling.
All right, welcome to another episode of Sales After Dark, because money never sleeps.
If you're watching this on a replay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to say hi to my friends, and then, so fast forward this 5 minutes. I'm going to jump into content, about 15 minutes of content. Then we'll do some questions and answers, and then I am out of here, man. So I'm super excited because it is Tech Tuesday. Check that out. Tech Tuesday, we're going to talk about a sales engagement platform. I think you're going to find this interesting. So before we get into it, let's see who. Oh, man, Chad was first one on the broadcast. Chad, go, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And we got Panama in the house. Sergio, saludos desde Panama. Saludos, hermano. Thank you for joining me. And then my girl, Mia Knox, West Coast in the house. Hope you're safe over there, man. It's a tragedy what's happening over there, so on the West Coast, so hope things are going well. Brian Gator, good evening from Las Vegas. Debate on one screen and my man Victor on the other. It is debate night. I realize that I'm up against a debate, so we're going to try to make this quick. If you're not here in the U.S., today's the first presidential debate, so it coincided with the same time that I'm doing this, so there it is. Anyway, TJ says, good day, Master VA. Internet problems every Tech Tuesday. Unbelievable. Anyway, we'll just watch this on the replay. I appreciate that. Ryan Bodecker. Man, don't you just want to say that in a big stadium? Ryan Bodecker. What's up, man? Glad you're joining us. And then my man, Chris Stone. If you like that intro, check out Chris Stone at castahead.net. That's the guy that did it. The man has some serious skills, man. We're working on a couple of the little projects, so good guy to work with, man. If I'm going back, you know he must be good. Anyway, Brandon Horn says, intro is long, man. You're losing. What'd you say? You're too funny. You're losing me, brother, with that. Plus the debate is starting. I know. I'll get off of this as soon as I can, Brandon. That's all right. Tarun, good morning. Thank you for joining me, man. Thank you for getting up. Kush Patel, thank you again. Let's see who else. What's up, Victor? Looking forward to some great stuff. MP, thank you for joining me. Kohai, let me see. Hello from Japan, man. So always good to have you on board. Joseph Vincent, NSN says hello. National Sales Network, my man David Richardson. Bam, high five at him, man. And we got, last but not least, Corey Bronson. Got my pen and paper ready to go. Let's do this because everybody wants to go watch the debate. All right. So before I start, I want to talk about, it's Tech Tuesday, so I want to talk about these sales engagement platforms. Now, you often hear sales engagement platform, and then you're going to hear sales enablement platforms, right? To me, sales enablement platforms are more about helping the salesperson. The sales engagement platforms is really about how marketing engages with clients in the customer journey. And again, many definitions vary, but that's how I look at it. Sales enablement, salespeople. Sales engagement, marketing trying to convert. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So recently I've been on like a webinar binge, right? And I came across this webinar by a company called CleverTap and Forrester. And it was just an interesting webinar. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Let me see if I can pull that back. Let me take that comment off this for a second, and let me just kind of bring that in. And they're talking about how do you use like behavioral techniques, basically, to actually convert on mobile apps. So what I want to do is I want to just share some data with you, man, because I think it's really interesting data. And again, I'm going to chop through it very quick. I took the best of the best, squeezed it down just for you, man, because that's what I do, just for you. So let's get into it, and I'm just going to give you the highlights. By the way, the link for the actual webinar is in the description. I suggest you check it out because I can't do these folks justice. And again, Forrester, Jenny Wise teamed up with Paul Brody over at CleverTap, and it's a great webinar because it was very detailed, gave examples, which I'm about to give you right now. But let's set this up. There's some shocking numbers in this, and they were basically saying the following. Look at these numbers. Did you know that 70% of U.S. adults use smartphones, right? Now, I'm sure there's more recent data, but it's good enough for our purposes. 70% of people are using smartphones, 46% are using tablets, right? And so here's the number that blew me away. When you look at the number of apps and websites, we typically have about 26 apps. We visit about 52 websites per month. And look at the data. We spend 66 hours on our apps or on websites. And if you're using a tablet, and by the way, this is on a mobile device, and you're using a tablet, you're basically spending 48 hours and 24 minutes. And again, the average app is 14. And then, again, 27 there. I mean, just incredible numbers of what we're consuming. And on average, we'll spend, and they have these numbers. I want to highlight this. They talked about on average, we'll spend 2 hours and 26 minutes, right? Or rather, 2 hours and 6 minutes every day glancing at our phone. I'll say it again, 2 hours and 6 minutes on our phone. Looking at our phone, and you're probably thinking, no, I don't think so, Victor. They're estimating you look at your phone somewhere between 150 to 200 times in one day. What do you think of that number? That's a big number, right? 150 to 200 times a day. And it's sometimes we kind of do, right? We grab our phone, we think we got enough, we just look at it real quick just to see the time. That counts as, they call it, a micro-mobile moment, a micro-mobile moment. And so we're just dependent on these devices. So the apps are on there. Everything we do is actually on the device. There's an interesting inverted correlation, though. You'll actually look at your device more, but spend half the time as compared to a desktop. But when you go to a desktop, you'll spend twice the time on a desktop as opposed to a mobile phone. Very fascinating. But we're going to focus on the mobile phone and how they're using it to convert, how they're using it as a sales engagement platform to convert buyers. I'm telling you, this is like mind-blowing. By the way, the answer is yes. It's using AI and machine learning to actually really pull out the information and increase retention and conversion rate. So let's begin with retention. I think retention is actually pretty interesting. On the retention side, sometimes I come across a image or a graph or something that I just go, brilliant. Whoever came up with this, brilliant. I think a graph is brilliant when it's simple but yet elegant. This fits that. This talks about retention. What are people looking for with a mobile app? In the moment, they're looking for different things. So Jenny Wise Forrester had this intro, this graph here, and I just want to show it to you because this is just brutally good. So basically, imagine that this is an airline example, and I mean, look at the way she lays this out. This is just beautiful. When you are going to make 2 weeks before you make the reservations, you need the app to actually book your reservation. As you get closer to the date, right, you might want to request an upgrade, or you might want to what? Change your seat. That's 2 days before. Maybe 2 hours before the flight, now you want to check in, you want gate updates. So you're using the mobile differently depending on the time span. Brilliant. At the flight, maybe you want, you want to order some food, get Wi-Fi, whatever it may be. But now look at this part here, the second part here. 2 hours after that, you've landed. Maybe you want to use it to find ground transportation, or maybe you've lost your baggage. I think it's pretty cool. Or maybe 2 days later, you look at it just to see if you got credit for your mileage points. And then 2 weeks later, maybe you want to look at some upcoming reservations. You get the notifications. I use Delta, and this is exactly how I use it. And I love this because what this is saying is the way you use an app depends on several things. One is obviously personalization and then segmentation, which we'll get into. But this whole time span of 2 weeks, then we use it differently 2 hours before, or 2 days before, then 2 hours before, and then you get the idea, is a brilliant way of showing that we use an app differently depending on when we use it and how we're going to use it in that moment. So I wanted to share this with you because when you're developing an app, what customers are looking for is for you to develop an app that meets all their needs throughout their time spans. In other words, have all these different functionalities. So when people log into an app, and if it only does one thing, then it's going to be very limited. But if I can use it, as they say, in the moment, differently, that's really the user experience I'm looking for. And if you have an app that is that valuable, that's helping you throughout your time span, your spectrum here, you're more likely to want to stay with that company and use it. So I'm a Delta fan because we're here in Atlanta. All right, that's retention, that's the app. Now, keep that in the background. This is just background stuff now. Now we get into the sales engagement piece. This gets good. All right. They looked at segmentation. And so let me zoom in so you can see. This is your basic segmentation here. And when you look at this segmentation, what you're looking at is basically, male or female user, somebody who never purchased, a new user, a buyer, somebody uninstalled the actual app, which happens, and then female users here. This is basic segmentation. This is basic marketing 101. But today, with machine learning, we can really start tracking different types of segmentations. This is where a sales engagement platform comes in, because how can you get more granularity? That's a good word, granularity, right? In other words, how can you get more detail, more granularity in terms of who is using the app? Well, with CleverTap, here's how they broke it up. they really got into more detail. Now you're looking at, again, you're looking at loyal users right here, engage but not buy. That means they're browsing. Shopping cart abandonment rates. We'll come back to that in just a bit, right? You put stuff in the shopping cart, but then you don't actually buy it. You don't pull the trigger. Why? And is there any way to nudge people to buy? Yes. Highly engaged. They're looking at a lot of content. How about lunchtime buyers? They buy around lunchtime. Geo zone, they're in a certain location. People on the West Coast versus people on the East Coast, whatever it may be. And then again, power users, lightly engaged, dissatisfied user, first-time buyers, people who churn, new users, right? So a sales engagement platform can actually break apart all this information in more detail. And by the way, this is just probably the tip of the iceberg. When you look at sales engagement platforms that use AI or machine learning, realize that they can break us into so many different segments. We're talking, these are probably like maybe, I'll add them up real quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 different parameters right here. I'm sure that the numbers have to be well within the 50 to 100, if not 200 different parameters that they actually segment us into. Again, that's why machine learning is powerful. So if you had this app and then you're using the sales engagement platform and you're able to break apart who's on your actual app, then the question then becomes is how do you engage them? Sales engagement platform, CleverTap. That's where it comes in. So what they do is, again, depending on the segment, and keep in mind that you're going to be able to program a lot of this stuff and actually have the platform do it for you. So for example, a new user, you might want to immediately give them, a welcome message, almost like a funnel, right? Almost like a vertical funnel, like a funnel. When somebody comes in for the first time, there's a drip campaign, right? So it could be new user. Let me move my head over here so you can see it. So welcome message based on acquisition source, right? Where they came from. If they're dissatisfied, they uninstalled the app, maybe you can engage them by sending them some type of survey, which might be interesting. Or down here, if they're lunchtime buyers, at 12:15, send them a coupon specifically for the taco in their cart, right? Why a taco? I have no idea, right? But anyway, different users. So imagine for a moment, expand your thinking here for a moment. You have this platform called CleverTap. You're running it on a mobile app. It's monitoring all these different type of segmented personalities or buyers. And for each one, depending on their activity, it's actually sending out notifications. These are notifications that are being sent out in real time. That's where the platform comes in. That's why it's so powerful. Now, let's go a step further. Let's say that in this case, you want to, again, segment, but now you want to add some timing. You realize that somebody viewed the product, right? So let's say users who in the last 30 minutes, this is important because now we're putting a timestamp. This is not, a week ago, a day ago. In the last 30 minutes, this is their behavior. They saw a product, they added it to the cart, but they did not buy. The platform can then send out notifications, which you see right here. Dear John, the Casio watch you added to the cart has 2 pieces left. Use the offer now. Trying to use the rule of scarcity here, right? With Amanda, there's only 1 piece of Prada handbag left. This might be your last chance. Scarcity again. Dear Rebecca, Gucci shoes are now qualified for free shipping if you buy today. An incentive, free shipping if you buy today. And again, keep in mind that we know the stats. When a customer calls us and we return their call within an hour or less, we're more likely to connect with them. With the sales engagement platform, same thing. If you can get somebody in 30 minutes or maybe 15 minutes, whatever it may be, whatever that time span is, within that time, you can maybe nudge them, convince them to buy. But again, all this is handled through the platform. It's once you set this up, it's hands off, so to speak. This is why these sales engagement platforms are so powerful. The machine is learning, adapting, and then learning what type of messages work and what type don't. Now, let's push a little further into this. Look what they found out. Now let's add time. Personalization plus segmentation, and we'll add time. At checkout, right here, if you just send out at checkout, use our coupon of 40%, your conversion rate is about 2%. Not a lot of conversion if you just blast out something in general. Here, you start adding, again, something more basic, right? Our shoe special, it's a sale for Sunday for women. And again, you'll see it's a little boosted there. The Gucci shoe, something specifically you had in your cart. Now the machine is talking to you. A little scary, I know. But the machine is talking to you, and all of a sudden, you see that because it added context, it's now what? It's now got a higher what? Conversion rate. And then here, when it's personalized, hi, Amanda. What up? That pink dress in your cart would be perfect for your wedding season. How do they know? It's a wedding event. I don't know. The machine knows. But because it's personalized, instead of just saying, for example, the Gucci shoes you looked at, now it adds your name, conversion now goes up to 19%. Keep in mind that these alerts are all automated, right? Clever Tap in that webinar stated, listen to this number. Listen to this number. In fact, I'm going to have you guess. Here's a company, it's a large company. How many of these notifications do you think go out on a per day basis? Just think of a number. How many notifications does the platform send out per day? Has a bunch of customers, sends out notifications. How many would you guess? Okay, whatever that number you have, here's the number. They send out 120 million notifications per day. Now, no human being can do this. This is why machine learning and AI is just impressive because, again, the machine is doing this. It's sending out 120 million. Now, did somebody actually write out 120 million customized, personalized, segmented type of notifications? No. This is the power of AI and a sales engagement platform. The machine basically does it. It writes it, it learns, it does it, learns, adjusts, and sends out these notifications. That's the power of a sales enablement platform. Now, one more example, and I'm wrapping up with this one. I told you I was going to chop through this quick so you guys can go watch the debate. Now, here's an example of a company. It's a restaurant, right? And I think it's an interesting example of a restaurant where, you know, imagine using an app like Uber Eats, but this time for a specific restaurant. What they wanted to find out is how could they increase the actual conversion rate? And here's what they found. Let's zoom in on this thing a little bit. What they found, let me put my head over here. What they found is that, here's the challenge right here. You see the challenge right there. Now, lunch hour represents a significant portion of their daily transactions. Shopping cart abandonment reveals loss for good. Bam, lost. So, look at this. Within live user segment, this is important. Live user segment means that the person is still in the app. They're in the app. The machine knows you're still in the app. And an item they put in a shopping cart, but they did not purchase within 15 minutes. So that triggered, right here, you can read that, it triggered a push notification showing that the item left in the cart, right? They just, whatever the notification may be, I just gave you a couple of examples before this. So once they used the platform, the sales engagement platform, to find people who had put stuff in their shopping cart and within 15 minutes, knowing that you're still in that live segment, you're still in the app, here's what they found, that they had essentially a 30% lift in lunch purchases. 30%. Said another way, if you make $100,000 every week in sales, right? Just making up a number, that's an additional what? $30,000 in revenue. Times that, let's make that $120K per month just using this platform. This is what a sales engagement platform is all about. And again, keep in mind, they're sending out 120 million notifications. If that isn't a mind blower, I don't know what is. So I wanted to introduce this to you because we often hear sales engagement platforms or sales enablement, but sales engagement platforms, and we really don't understand what it is. So I hopefully clarified what the thing can do. Again, I do not do it justice. So thank you to the folks over at Clever Tap and Forrester. Again, the link is down here in the description. Check out the webinar. There's a lot of stuff I had to take out because I wanted to keep it short. So great content. Check out the webinar, and I hope you enjoyed this Tech Tuesday. Now, I'm going to take some questions, and then we're going to roll up out of here. Let me know what you think. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering about price, that's what it costs. But again, if you're making, an extra $30,000 a week, that's not a lot of money to spend. And again, the website has a lot of great different applications. So whether it's retention or upselling or cross-selling, this is a fascinating platform. So on that note, let's take some questions, man. I know I went through that fairly quickly, but you guys get the idea. And if you want to dig deeper, go down that rabbit hole, go to the link and do that. By the way, if you like this type of video, man, make sure you hit the like button somewhere around your video and let me know what you think. I always want your feedback. All right, so let me see. If I miss your comment, I'm going to start right here. So great to be catching you live. Cheryl, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing the valuable insights. Thank you, sir. Well, I got to get this name right. Keshavdas M. Tell me if I got it right or close to it, Keshavdas. Sparrow's Tail's in the house, man. Thank you for being here. Love a cup of tea. Right back with a hey at you. TJ says, I think this applies mostly for tangible items. Am I right? I think so. I'm sure you can use it for services and upgrades. Maybe, but I don't know. It's mostly tangible services, so I would agree with you 100%. Yeah, wow, the power technology. I mean, just 120 million notifications per day. I mean, just wrap your brain around that little thing for a while. Don't rush to finish. My rather watch the debate on replay. This actually benefits my thing. Thank you, Corey, man. I got you on the much round. Thank you, man. Thank you, Victor. Thanks for posting the link. Yeah, check it out, man. Sales Velocity Academy. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Sales Velocity Academy, boom, there it is. Check it out. We've added some new courses. And again, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little notification so you know when I go live. Thank you, Pete, for always bringing that up. Thank you for this golden info again. Have a great night. You do the same. Ansley, do they have tutorials after purchase? I don't know. Ansley, can you help me out with that? What do you mean, do they have tutorials after purchase? I don't know what that means. Give me some more context on that one. I'd be more than happy to answer. Excellent. Simplified all in one. That's what I was shooting for, Richard. Like I said, you can make this an hour presentation, but sometimes we just need to kind of know the high-level structure of what this is all about, and that's good enough. Sedhill says, I have something I built is a business-to-business deal accelerator. That AI looks good, man. Hey, AI is the future, my man. Sedhill, AI is the future. On that note, final thoughts for the evening. I wanted you to really just walk away with a taste of what a sales engagement platform is if you haven't given it any thought or you're not familiar with it. And I think we as salespeople, mostly marketing people already know this, but we as salespeople have to understand that a lot of the sales is shifting online, that the machines, so to speak, are doing a lot of the selling for us. And people always ask me, Victor, does that mean as a salesperson I have no role? No, I'm just saying that between simplicity and complexity, there's a spectrum, right? And as we move towards the complex salespeople will always be valuable. But I can also see that as the simplicity starts shrinking, that runway starts to disappear for a lot of salespeople, and I think those jobs will go away. So complex salespeople, you're good. Simple salespeople, that's going to be a tough one. But I think these platforms are fascinating because they can do things that are somewhat unimaginable, the 120 million notifications per day. And if they've gotten more customers since this webinar, you can only imagine how many of these are going out. But the most fascinating part is that the machine is actually learning, adjusting, editing, modifying, and redoing the alerts, right? They'll figure out what phrases, for example, work best, what coupon codes work best, what's the right price point for a coupon code. Is it 20%? Is it 25? Is it 30? What triggers that sale? And then they look at time frame, right? The temporal part. And the temporal part, which is the timepiece, is, hey, what's the right time to really get them? Once they put something in their shopping cart, when is the right time to trigger? And again, depending on the sale, they can do a correlation between revenue, how big the shopping cart, dollar amount is versus what the time lapse should be. So in other words, if they have $10,000 worth of product, that means you can give them a little more time before you give them a push notification. If it's something smaller, right? Let's say $500, a push notification within 5 minutes might be better. The machine is learning all of this. And I think we need to appreciate what is going on. We're in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution called the information age plus AI now. And this is just a taste of what is out there. I can only imagine the advancements that we're going to see over the next few months, or next few years, rather. And so on that note, thank you, Pete, again. I leave you with this message. AI is real. Don't discount it. And thank you for joining me. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard. Thank you for joining me on Sales After Dark. Now get out of here and go watch that debate.